Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be taking a look at a new Jakks specific 4-inch character. This time we have the Jakks specific 4-inch Knuckles. Now I'm very excited to do this video. My Modern Sonic is one of my most viewed videos on the channel, so I'm really excited to showcase your Modern Knuckles. But first off, let's take a look at the packaging. Here is Knuckles' packaging, again the open style window, which I really like. And here at the back, you can see Knuckles' 11 points of articulation. Well, I guess specifically 10 because the head one is very, very stiff. But here's a bit of quick bio. Knuckles is a red echidna and can use his immense strength and hit the spikes on his fists to smash enemies, climb walls, or even destroy solid rock. Interesting description, and here we have the full wave this time, which contained another Sonic, which only difference is the accessory, Chaos, who's been a very popular character. Personally, I don't really care for Chaos, so do not ever expect a review for him, and Big the Cat, who I do have, but I'm not sure if I'll do a video on. But now I took a look at the wave of the packaging, let's take a look at Knuckles. And here we have Knuckles. Of course, one of Sonic's closest friends slash allies and one of the most popular Sonic characters, and one of my personal favorites. So I'm so glad I finally have Knuckles. Believe me, I spent quite a while searching for this figure. I learned about this Jakks specific Sonic line about a year ago, and I got Sonic around October, November, December 2022, around then. And since then, I wanted to have Sonic's main group of friends, which to me, Sonic's main group of friends is Tails, Amy, Knuckles, and maybe Rouge. So, I just got Knuckles about a month ago, so yeah, pretty long wait, but it was worth it. Now, zooming into the figure, you can see there his eyes are colored purple. That's very nice, very accurate. The paint has been very quick. It doesn't really have that much paint. You can see the neck, his shoes, which have been painted really nice. And something I've noticed is that, is it me or his hands a bit one larger than the other? Like, let me zoom in. You can see maybe, is it just me or is that normal for one of his hands to be larger than the other? Here we can see the back, his sharp tail, and his dreads, I guess that's what we should call them, which we'll get into articulation. But in terms of the aspect, it definitely looks like a Modern Knuckles. Of course, there hasn't really been that great of a Modern Knuckles figure for a while now. Like, in 2009 to 2011, you could get the Jazzwares one. Then for 2014, Tomy mainly made Sonic Boom stuff, so you could get it's like Boom Knuckles, who, let's be honest, has around the same level of intelligence as Patrick Star in that series. And then Tomy, around the end of their line, made a Modern Knuckles. But honestly, this is my favorite. I really like how he looks. Yes, he has a bit less articulation than the Jazzwares one, but in that regard, it makes him a bit more durable. But let's take a look at his articulation. Now, the box mentions 11 points of articulation. And it's kind of funny that the box focuses on the head articulation, which sadly is very limited because of his dreads here. The only way it could be sort to move the arm like this, but I do not like how it looks. It feels very stiff. Like, apart from that, not really much out of the head. That is a problem almost every single Knuckles figure has. I have never seen a Knuckles figure that can solve that about the dreads, unless they're made out of like a rubbery plastic. He has arm articulation, which is fantastic, the same one we've seen on the Modern Sonic and all of these other modern characters have. So, no kind of no kind of elbow joint. He has a swivel on the hands. That's really nice, but not really much there. It can spin, that's the most interesting part. Around this kind of ball joint on his legs. Knee bend, which is fantastic, and some swivel here at the foot. And yeah, you can kind of get him to like this punching pose and such, which I really like. And that's kind of it for his articulation. Let's take a look at his accessory, which, to be honest, is not that interesting. It's this star button, which sure you can press it and that's pretty cool, but apart from that, it's the exact same one that Sonic came with. As I mentioned on my Sonic video, the only thing I don't like about this Jakks specific Sonic line is that the accessories, unless it's like a very character specific accessory like Amy Rose and her hammer, there's not really much in terms of the accessories. Knuckles can't even hold it. Like, he's not supposed to hold it. It's a button. These kind of buttons are all over Green Hills in the video games. You just have to jump on them, and they'll make you almost... They're gonna propel you. But apart from that, there's not really else to say about this button. It's a pretty pointless for the main figure to contain this, but I guess it's for them to say, oh, we give you a figure and accessory. But the base figure is pretty fantastic, and I guess the accessory just a throw-in, but this is the exact kind of accessory with that Sonic. This Knuckles has been re-released multiple times, the same exact mold, I believe the exact paint, the only difference being the accessory. Like, I remember I once saw one on the online that contained one of the Chaos Emeralds, so I guess if you're a fan of those, maybe you'll prefer to look for that version. I personally don't really care about the accessory here, I just wanted Knuckles. But now let's do some size comparisons. First comparison, here we have Sonic and Knuckles. Yeah, that's a 1993 reference. But they look pretty fantastic next to each other. Sonic is noticeably shorter than Knuckles, but that's kind of how it works. A lot of toy companies usually make Knuckles about the exact size as Sonic, but Knuckles is meant to be larger. And you can definitely notice it here when we look at them side to side. They definitely look one shorter than the other, but that's how it's supposed to work. So overall, it's a pretty fantastic scaling. And they look fantastic next to each other. All I'm missing is Tails here in the middle. And we have our full classic Team Sonic. Here's Knuckles next to Amy Rose, which again is pretty tall, so the scaling here doesn't work as great. Let me know in the comments if you'd like to see a review for this Amy. And finally, for the 4-inch line, here's the only other character I have from this 4-inch line, that being Big the Cat. Yeah, a mean character warning. Yeah, I don't really know why I got this big figure. Maybe it's because I haven't really found any of the other 4-inch characters, and I just thought it'd be fun to have Big the Cat. Let me know in the comments if you'd like to see a video on Big. I'm not sure if I'll do a video on Big the Cat. But that's kind of it for the size comparisons. It's something, before we get into size comparisons, I just want to quickly mention that even though I'm pretty sure that many people find Big as desirable as all of the other characters, he's actually a pretty great deal. Like, he's very hefty in comparison to Knuckles, to all the other figures. He's very hefty. Of course, he's very large. He's a pretty dense figure as well. The fact that he's $10 like all the others, that's a pretty good price, because again, he's a lot larger than all the other figures, not just in height, but in bulk. So I think it's cool that he's so cheap. But that's it for the 4-inch line. Let's do some other comparisons, like Modern Knuckles next to Classic Sonic. And yeah, I'll definitely need a Classic Knuckles. But they look cool. Again, as I mentioned, the game Sonic Generations, it's shown that classic characters are shorter than modern characters. So they look cool next to each other. Of course, not completely in scale, and I'll definitely need a Classic Knuckles. And for some non-Sonic comparisons, here we have Knuckles next to the Moose Toys Bugs Bunny, just to give you another sense of scale. They look cool next to each other. Of course, we'll probably never know what the right scaling would be here, but I think they look close enough to what I expect them to be, around the same size. And here's Knuckles next to the Marvel Legends Star-Lord and She-Hulk. And as I mentioned previously on these Jakks-specific Sonic videos, I think this is pretty fantastic scaling. Of course, they're never meant to be on scale with each other, and you might think Knuckles is a bit too short, but this is around his height Knuckles would actually be. In the Sonic the Hedgehog movie 2, you know, the one with Tails and Knuckles, you'll remember that in there are many shots of Jim Carrey's Dr. Eggman standing next to Knuckles, and considering again Jim Carrey's height, and the height of any human or human character, here with Star-Lord they look cool. I like this kind of scale. Actually, again, as I mentioned on the Space Jam video on LeBron James, the LeBron James figure, I think that Marvel Legends scale even better than those human characters. Like, even with Jakks Pacific's Jim Carrey and Dr. Eggman, I think the scale works much better here. And the last comparison, here we have Knuckles next to the Transformers Rise of the Beasts mainline Optimus Prime. So overall, modern Knuckles is a pretty great figure. Almost every single thing I mentioned with Sonic can be applied here with Knuckles. I think he's fantastic. He scales pretty well with all my other figures. But something else that I forgot to mention on the articulation is that his joints feel a lot more solid than Sonic. So let me bring out Sonic again. You can see how his legs are kind of wobbly. I'm not sure why. Maybe it's a tolerance issue that the first wave had, since I believe my Sonic is from the first wave, but I'm not going to buy a newer Sonic figure from a newer wave just to confirm that. Overall, this is a pretty fantastic Knuckles. Again, the best modern Knuckles figure in a while now, and even though the accessory is pretty bland and his articulation is hindered due to his dreads, overall, he's a fantastic figure. I definitely recommend him if you're doing a Sonic collection. So that's it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. Please let me know in the comments what you think about this Knuckles. But that's it. Thanks for watching.